What if you could live longer, maybe even forever, not by drinking some magic potion, but just by unlocking a hidden power in your own mind? Well, that's the absolutely electrifying idea behind Colin Wilson's 1969 novel, The Philosopher's Stone, and today we're going to unpack its pretty radical user's guide to immortality.
Right here, in this quote from the author himself, you get the key to the entire book. See, Wilson isn't really interested in our emotions or our feelings. He's basically arguing that the next great leap for humanity, our evolution, depends on us escaping that messy world of feeling and embracing the pure, powerful world of intense thought. And that brings us to the central mind-bending question of the whole novel. Forget about diets, forget about genetics. What if the single biggest factor in how long you live was just the intensity and focus of your mind? It's a wild idea for sure, and it's the engine that drives this entire story.
So let's dive in. Our story starts with the narrator who feels trapped in a world of what he calls dirt and boredom. He's just completely crushed by how futile everything feels. He sees his life not as some precious gift, but as a prison. A short, meaningless sentence that just ends in death.
Then one day, in a library book, he finds this line from an ancient Greek song, "Life is far too short, alas." It's such a simple phrase, but for him, it's like a lightning strike. The whole abstract problem of death suddenly becomes this personal, suffocating horror. It's not a poem anymore, it's a diagnosis of the human condition. And that horror just takes over his life. It becomes this obsession with time. Time is no longer a flowing river, it's a countdown. Every single tick of his watch is just a reminder that his life is ticking away towards nothing. It's like an ultimatum from life itself. So here's the crucial part. The narrator sees this massive, tragic gap between what a human mind can do, create incredible music, art, science, and the ridiculously short amount of time we get to actually do it. And to him, this isn't just sad, it feels like an evolutionary screw-up, one that he feels he just has to fix. But here's the thing. Instead of just falling into despair, our narrator starts a quest. He gets this idea that life isn't purely a biological thing. He starts to suspect it's sustained by will, by purpose. So he starts searching for a direct link between how we think and how long we live. He actually starts compiling data, and a really clear pattern starts to emerge. People like philosophers and mathematicians, people who live intensely inside their own minds, they consistently outlive those who live more physically or chaotically, like, say, gangsters. The evidence all seems to point to one crucial thing: an active, focused mind.
He even gives a name to this mental state that he thinks is the key to it all: the value experience. Now, think of it like those rare moments of pure clarity you might have. You're listening to a piece of music or maybe watching a sunset, and suddenly all the trivial stuff just falls away, and you feel connected to something bigger. He argues this isn't just a nice feeling, it's the very fuel of life itself.
Okay, and this is where the story takes a hard turn from philosophy into pure science fiction. The narrator actually teams up with a brilliant scientist, Sir Henry Littleway, to do something that sounds impossible, to turn this abstract value experience into something you can measure, trigger, and repeat whenever you want. Their guiding idea is actually pretty simple. The human brain isn't flawed. It's an incredibly powerful computer that we're just not using correctly. They believe that with the right tools, they can literally upgrade the brain to run at its full intended capacity. And their method is, well, it's shockingly direct. They come up with this procedure to just bypass all the mental noise and directly stimulate the prefrontal cortex, the most evolved part of our brain. By applying a tiny electrical current with these things they call Neumann electrodes, they hope to artificially create a state of pure, contemplative objectivity.
And unbelievably, it works. Their first test subject has this profound, totally lucid moment of clarity. He realizes that all the grand ideas, the things poets and artists have been trying to tell us for centuries, they aren't just beautiful metaphors. They are fundamentally more real and more important than the tiny, trivial details that take up all our time.
So of course, the narrator undergoes the procedure himself, and afterwards, he finds that his consciousness has been permanently changed. This isn't just about feeling good or thinking clearly anymore. No, this upgrade has unlocked entirely new abilities, new ways of perceiving reality itself. He calls his main new power time vision. And it's not a machine, it's a new faculty of his own mind. He can now use his focused consciousness to reach back and witness past events, and not like a blurry memory, but with the vividness of a dream. And the glimpses he gets are just fascinatingly specific. He doesn't just see some vague historical scene. He sees the brutal, specific details of an ancient murder. He sees William Shakespeare in a tavern, spitting on the sandy floor. He sees a library exactly as it looked 200 years ago. This power is real.
But his new power isn't limited to just human history. As he pushes his time vision farther and farther back, way past the dawn of civilization, his personal quest for immortality is suddenly dwarfed by a terrifying, cosmic discovery about where the human race really came from.
And here it is, the ultimate truth hidden in our deepest past. Humans didn't just evolve on our own. We were created. Or maybe more accurately, modified by a race of ancient godlike beings, the Old Ones, to be their servants, their tools.
And the power difference is just staggering. I mean, look at this. Mankind has individual consciousness, technological power. The Old Ones, they have a hive mind consciousness and literal planetary-level power. And here's the kicker. They aren't dead. They're just sleeping deep inside the Earth.
So this leaves us with the terrifying paradox that the novel ends on. Our narrator has found the key to humanity's next step in evolution, to become awake, powerful, maybe immortal. But what happens if our collective act of waking up serves as a cosmic alarm clock for our ancient sleeping masters? It's a race for our own divinity, with the very real risk of waking the gods who created us in the first place.